And there we are, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jim. That guy over there is Joe.
How you doing? Joe Alba Stillwater. It's Jim Baldini over in Hardiston. And today we have a pretty interesting district, the Republican Stronghold, run by a very powerful politician who is many, many decades of exerting a lot of influence, a very good fundraiser. And he's not recently in the election. The GOP has decided to ditch him. He got mad, said he was going to switch to Democrat. Now he's dropped out of the race. His voting record is pretty strongly conservative, and he was a very strong Trump supporter. So it was kind of funny to see that he said he was going to switch to Democrat because he felt betrayed by his party. But the gentleman is pushing 90, and now they're saying the age isn't an issue. However, it really is. So this is a Republican stronghold, and the question here. And we're going to look at the numbers, and we're going to look at the funding that Jim researched and that all through open source. The question here is, with Senator Thompson's absence, does this still remain a Republican stronghold? And we can't really conclude it. We'll take a look at the numbers, and we'll see.
Yeah, we also had one of the gentlemen who won in 2021 passed away, and was replaced by Zwicky. So Ronald Dancer passed away, and he was put in by the Republicans by an Alexander Zwicky, who, by the way, has a very nice website. I got a compliment on his website. So yes, very interesting breakdown of this case, and I got to tell you, this is a district that has Jackson all the way up to Old Bridge. So this is one of those Monmouth County districts. So you ready to move on this one, Joe?
Yeah, see the map.
All right, here's the map, and here's the by the way, this is our new and improved format, so I hope you like it. Give us some feedback on that. All right, Joe, this is so here's your map. As I just pointed out, goes all the way from Old Bridge all the way down to Plumstead in the bottom half there, and it's changed a bit, as we'll see when we look at the different the aspects. So this is close to the shore, and bordering it is the 11th district and the 13th district. So and then to the north of it, I think is my memory serves correctly. Well, I'm not. My memory doesn't serve me correctly, so I'll leave it at that. I think 8 actually is off to the left here, or to the bottom left, and then 10 is down towards the southwest where Lakewood is.
But it's flanked by the Jersey Shore to the east, and then Democrat New Jersey to the west.
Yep. Yep. So going on to the next slide, Joe, we have the breakdown by votes in the different parts of the graph that does the breakdown between the Republicans and the Democrats.
And what a Republican stronghold this is. This is the strongest Republican district we've seen. I mean, Jim, even Brannick's district doesn't come close. And Brannick's district has just recently become a Republican stronghold. But to this level, I mean, the Republicans just stomped the Democrats in this district. This is like county level.
I was going to say this is the 24th district. That's what this one looks like.
This is like our level of Republican power. They do good down in Monmouth. They do good work down there.
Yeah, I guess so.
Is it all about Samuel Thompson and his team in Dancer? I mean, with them not being on the scene, will the Democrats be able to make a resurgence here? We're not going into demographics. We're not going into consensus or any other candidate analysis. We're just looking from the numbers. Is it possible to make a dent? If we're looking at a correlation where money spent per vote equals victory, then is there a possibility the Democrats can make a resurgence here?
Yeah, and I think that we also have the ability to go deeper into this. We can do some more analysis on this in different places for different people if you're interested. But going on to the next slide, Joe, we have the actual numbers from the and by the way, Joe, you tell everyone how to make the screen big. How do you do that?
Oh yeah, go to the right hand corner and there's a little box. Click on that box and it goes to full screen. And then you can see the numbers pretty clearly. I'm looking at them from far away, but I do have good vision. But if you have your vision corrected to 2020, I'm exactly 2020, and I can see the numbers pretty clearly from about 1.5 to 2 feet away from the screen.
And so this graph is 2021, and you can see the numbers speak for themselves. Thomas and Dancer and Clifton did extremely well against the Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
Even in places like where the Democrats outnumber Republicans. I'm just going to go right at the throat
Mm-hmm.
here with Old Bridge. If you look at Old Bridge, there's 3,000 more Democrats, and yet the Republicans were pulling 4,000 more votes out of those districts.
So many registered Democrats are voting Republican in New Jersey. We're seeing
It's
that
right.
in every district. Yeah.
It's either they're not voting Democrat or Republican, or the Democrats are either not voting or they're voting Republican. That's what it
Mm-hmm.
comes down to. It's
Mm-hmm.
one of those two choices, and you can see even in strongholds for Republicans, they ran the numbers up because I'm looking at Manalapan, which I know I'm sorry saying that wrong, so I apologize. 9,600 votes versus 5,300 votes. They only outnumbered Democrats by 2,000 votes in that district, or that part of the district. Yet they doubled the number of votes that they were able to pull out of that township. That's incredible. Like they doubled the amount of lead that they had,
Mm-hmm.
so it's the same story, different towns throughout this district for the most part. They are only, and to be fair, this district is weighted towards the Democrats, but not as heavily as many other districts. Because you look at 4,600 Republicans versus 5,200
Mm-hmm.
Democrats. So, I mean, those numbers are fairly decent.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a solid Republican district. Very solid.
right, right. So, so let's go to the next slide, Joe. This is the 2023 projected map of this one, and it's in purple there because originally it was going to hold Thompson, and as you know, Joe, Thompson, who was going to run as a Democrat, as you pointed out at the beginning, is no longer.
And the assumption is Thompson's absence going to take Republican votes away? Same with
Right,
Dancer. Is it? Because this projection is assuming that Dancer and Thompson's voters are going to stay voting Republican.
right, right, and I would say if Thompson was going to still run, this would have been a little bit more challenging run, but since he's not, he actually
Mm-hmm.
and exits. Now it's just a question of what you just point out: is is the money going to be there for his replacement, which is Owen Henry, who is
Mm-hmm.
the mayor of Old Bridge, and so I would assume so. Old Bridge is the heavyweight in the district as
Mm-hmm.
far as towns go. That and Jackson are big townships within the district. But the truth of the matter is, we see the numbers in the new district are not that much different. There's 46, almost 47,000 Republicans
Mm-hmm.
versus 53,000 Republicans,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll talk about the trend statewide in a little bit, but this is actually, again, I think we're going to see 2023 is another big year for this district. I'm hopeful, but it's again, we're not doing candidate breakdown. It all depends on the candidates and what they
Mm-hmm.
do, right, Joe? That's what it
Mm-hmm.
comes down to.
Mm-hmm.
Any comments on what you're looking at there?
No, I mean we're showing by the numbers. No opinion here, no conjecture. It is just strictly by the numbers. This is a powerful Republican stronghold, and now
Yeah.
they're going into a new election missing two of their very powerful Republicans.
Uh,
So that's just something that has to be looked at. If we were doing the strategy on this, we would be doing polling and canvassing based on these Republicans. We'd be comparing
right.
their different profiles, and we'd also be trying to understand the grassroots and the variances between different Republican voting demographics as well as unaffiliated demographics here to
Mm-hmm.
determine whether they would support these two candidates with the same gusto as they did Thompson and Dancer.
Yeah, and I think I need to say this is the numbers that you're seeing on the screen are based off of Republican versus Democrat votes, whatever the new from the old district into the new district. So, while Old Bridge was a legislative district 12, there are towns on here that were from other districts. So whatever they voted in the last election for that party we just moved these numbers over into this new district. So the confusion was. But I would say this, Joe, the Republicans, the Republican Assembly had 101% turnout for their votes versus 99.6, which, again, I've said it before, Philadelphia is the only place where 100% come out to vote, right? So this is not, obviously, not 100% Republicans came out to vote during this election. There has to be votes coming from somewhere, and that's where you said before, Democrats are voting. Maybe unaffiliates are voting heavily Republican now. Again, part of the trend. So having said, and I'll say the Democrats aren't even breaking 50% of their vote.
Yeah, and wait until you see the finances about this. Is going to really surprise everybody because this is the first time we've seen this.
So here's the cost per vote.
Now, we only got Republicans on here because what happened to the Democrat financing, Jim?
There is none. And I'll just there's a couple slides later. You'll see we actually have proof of that. That's not just a general assumption. That's not just, again, this is data pulled directly from NJ Elect, and so this is not made up numbers. So I will say that. So you can see little over $3 for Thompson, but for the other two Republicans, under $3.
At this time, correct me if I'm wrong, but at this time, Thompson has spent more money per vote than any other Republican that we've seen in every district.
I believe so.
Yeah, $350.
I would say he's more than. I would say that we've seen Democrats who have spent 10 times.
What he has
spent.
Oh, we've had Democrats spend $50 per vote.
Yes.
Yeah, but we've also shown that the reason they spend so much per vote is because they skim off the top and they write themselves checks from their campaign funds.
Yeah.
And that's what it looks like. Well, the guy's writing himself personally a check from the campaign fund. Yeah. So the Democrats make money on their elections personally. The Republicans don't. So that's an interesting thing here. And so far, we've not seen a Republican spend $3.50 per vote.
It's interesting how no DA has gone after any of these guys, just pointing that out.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
They're so law and order now, right?
Yeah, right.
So here's
and the Democrats are a criminal oligarchy.
Yeah, well, that's certainly the truth. So here's data we pulled right from, again, NJ Elect. You can see the breakdown. The total spent by Thompson, $164,000, which, by the way, is still far beneath some of these Democrat strongholds that we've seen.
Oh, they spent as many as $2 million for a district.
Yeah. And for a $49,000 job a year, $49,000 a year.
Yeah, it's worth that $49,000 a year job is definitely worth $2 million, right?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess so.
But here's the numbers here, like you said, and it looks up. This is what the Republicans are spending.
Yeah,
and so $2 to $3 per vote, and they're maintaining a stronghold. But this is not something that has just been recently won. Like Bramnick has a very strong district, but he just recently has made it a strong district. That district has the potential to swing Democrat. This has been a long time Republican district, and Thompson has been this guy was a legislature back when Reagan was around, so he's been around. He's been around, and like I said, how much of this is being swung by his force? And with his force gone, will it continue? Now, according to what we've seen, though, Jim, this is just about money. So if money per vote and money spent in the right places, if $2 to $3 is the magic number for a Republican vote, for a Republican win, $2 to $3 per vote, then it shouldn't matter who takes over as long as the guy's not a complete imbecile. If he spends that money and has an R next to his name, in theory, according to what we've been looking at, he should get elected.
Yeah, and I would say, it's about comparative to, just stepping back, and I don't want to pollute the entire pool here, but if you look at, if these guys were spent, if these other districts that we've covered, some of them, if they had this kind of money, they would be winning against Democrats.
Oh, District 4. District 4 would have won hands down if they'd just had $2 per vote.
Yeah. Yeah, and so would probably 38. Was it 36 to 38? They did very well they would have done very, very well. So next slide, we have
$2 per vote would probably win Bergen County for good and all.
Yeah,
the Bergen County districts for good and all. Yeah.
The only district I guess right now that would probably be similar to this might be 39. 39, which we talked about, and is also another good district for Republicans.
Shapizi's, right?
Shapizi, yep.
Yeah, Shapizi.
Here's our proof. These are screenshots directly from NJ Elect. You can see no records, no expense records found for any of the Democrats who ran for Assembly or for State Senate. Just as proof, so we're not pulling the wool over your eyes and making stuff up. Here is the funding breakdown for each.
Wait, could it be that they just didn't report it? Which I mean, these are Democrats, so I mean, they would probably not report something. Yeah.
That is a bit illegal, but hey, why not?
Why not? I mean, it's not like they're going to go to jail or anything or get indicted or anything. I mean,
that's the truth. Yeah. That's the truth. So here we have the breakdown, the funding breakdown for each party. Again, the numbers are pretty straightforward. Nothing spent by the Democrats, and you can see Thompson. I mean, he's in blue only because he switched to the Democrats halfway through, as Joe mentioned at the top. But you can see there's really
he's a Trump supporting Democrat, though. This is so funny. The only reason he switched to the Democrats because when up here in Sussex in LD12, we don't know what's going on down there. And when we heard this guy switch to Democrats, everybody was cursing him and putting hexes on him and wishing him all kinds of doom and gloom. But the reason was interesting. He felt betrayed that they were going to primary him. He felt betrayed by his party and betrayed by his friends. But he did say, he goes, at my age, what am I going to do? Just lay down and die? This gives me some purpose. So I'm wondering, when you look at his legislative record, I mean, for the last few years, he votes yes on everything. Remember that, Jim? We looked at his legislative record.
Yeah, he has a lot of yeses in his column.
Yeah, there was no no's. Like now, all the votes were. I mean, none of them looked like they were very partisan or very significant just for the last 2 years.
Well,
he voted.
In his defense, anything that gets to the floor of the state senate is going to pass.
Yeah,
that's what it comes down to, and
It's a weird dynamic in New Jersey, huh? You think the Senate would be something that would stop something that would be?
Well, the U.S. Senate's no different. They don't put anything on the floor that they can't win. That's what it comes down to. They have the votes before it hits the floor. That way, they don't look like they're losers. If they put something up and it passes, the democratic process or the voting process in our system is not based on what's best for the people. It's on what they'll be able to pass and make themselves look good doing. I mean, bottom line. So next slide, Joe. We have the trend that we were mentioning earlier in this video.
Right? New Jersey Globe did some analysis statewide. They did some research. Yeah.
And we're gonna do it even more in depth on this too. So this is only a skimming of the surface, teasing you for something in the future. But you can see in between 2016, just as a brief background, in 2020, the Democratic Party grew in New Jersey, and so did the Republicans, but the Democrat Party grew largely faster, and it got bigger, 450,000 to 230,000, I think was the number of votes. But you can see the trend has shifted between 2020 and 2023, with Biden as president. There are now more Republicans and there are less Democrats, new Democrats, and there's more new Republicans. And the unaffiliated, I think this is the key number here, Joe. I think the key number is for a state that has been largely unaffiliated, with people not wanting to pick a party, they seem to be not coming to that as much as they did before. They seem to be definitely picking a party. Unaffiliates seem to be sliding towards a party.
Yeah, the polarity and the divisiveness and the extremeness of the of the left is pushing more people into the Republican Party, and the Republicans are growing at a faster rate than the Democrats are in New Jersey.
Yeah. And I think that's a key indicator of the statewide, at least, feelings towards Governor Murphy as well as Biden. So I think those are key components that people need to be looking at going forward when you're running these races, and also goes to our analysis that the boogeyman is dead.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The whole concept that New Jersey's unwinnable and there's
Yeah,
the Democrats rule. That's all nonsense. That's
yeah, it's
nonsense.
all
This is a
nonsense.
very, very winnable state for the Republican Party. It's just a matter of having good political. It's just a matter of having good politicians and good campaign strategies and funding. And this
Yeah,
state can be a Republican state easily.
it certainly
Uh,
can.
yeah, yeah. But we got to get past the S-Clown brigade.
Yeah, that is the truth. And so now we're on the summary stage, Joe,
Mhm.
and I'll let you hammer out something if you want to put it out there about what
Probably
you.
all right. So we're looking at probably one of the strongest Republican districts, legislative districts in the state, hinged upon a venerable patriarch of the party in this area, who came from Alabama actually, but then came to New Jersey to work in his industry, and he was very successful. He's not there anymore. Unfortunately, one of the assemblymen passed away. So two critical bringers in of votes to very popular legislators are now gone. The money, will they raise the same amount of money, and will they be able to spend the same amount of money? And if they don't, does the Republican Party in Monmouth, and we're going to be sending this to the Monmouth GOP, does the Republican Party in Monmouth understand that throughout the entire state of New Jersey, the dollars you spend per vote is almost instrumental? Just look at the analysis we've done in these districts. You spend money, you win elections. It's that simple. That seems to be the big delivery across the board. We've had Republican, look at our analysis of District 4. Look at the analysis of District 16. I mean, this was not about messaging. This wasn't about the candidates. This was purely about we see direct causation to spending money to winning the election. Democrats come in and they flood it with money. They run people who you wonder how these people get up in the morning and how they even have a job. They run people like this. And these people, they'll come in with $50 per vote and get elected. And you'll see Republicans that going up against them that aren't getting any money. They're just grassroots people starting out with zero money and almost beating them. So with that consistent pattern in every district, does Monmouth understand that, or at least the parties that are the county clubs that are facilitating this election, do they now are going to look at losing two of their heavy hitters, their pipe hitters, basically, Thompson and Dancer, and losing these guys? Do they understand now that money per vote has to be consistent or increase in order to maintain their hegemony? I mean, they may say, no, we got it. We don't have to spend anything. We'll still win. I mean, the Democrats are spending nothing in this district. The next thing we would do, let's say if we were your consultants, is we would be doing deep dives on the Democrats in this area. And we'd be trying to figure out, do they smell blood in the water? Do they want to make a play for this district? Do they think they can raise money in this district? And these are the things you have to look at.
Well, I do think that there's no guarantees when you get right down to the race. There's no guarantees. Your best option is always to go as if you're going to lose. Fight. You can't just say I'm going to win and expect to win, because that is what happened with Sweeney down in District 2, or was it District 3? District 3, in which he thought that he was going to win, and then Durr went there and cleaned his clock. That's the quintessential example of why you have to act as if you're always behind, and you have to be out there shaking the hands and spending the money in order to get your voice heard. And Sweeney did that, but he didn't do it well enough.
Well, this was a short one. We did a short one this time, 25 minutes, because we've got a lot of feedback saying we want shorter videos. So here you go, 25 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. And on that note, Joe, we'll be doing more of these. And got any final words?
Nope. Everybody have a great night. Be safe and have a blessed Easter coming up.
God bless.